Good morning, Unity of South Sound. Before I start, I have a little story to tell about my 6-year-old. My very vibrant 6-year-old. A couple weeks ago, it was 10 o'clock at night. And all of a sudden, my spouse and I hear, "Mommy, Mama, I have an important question and it can't wait." He has so many questions. I'm like, "Okay, Ezekiel." So he comes out and he says, "Okay, well, it's not really important, but it can't wait." And I said, "Okay, what is it?" He says, "I'm laying there and I don't understand Ramadan. And I want to understand Ramadan." And I was like, what 6-year-old lays in bed at 10 o'clock at night, puzzling about the curiosities of Ramadan and other religions that he doesn't yet understand, but will. And I said, "You know what? Mommy's going to have to call a friend because I have lots of friends that might have books for you." So I called a friend and they said, "Absolutely, I have a children's book." So this song is called "One God," made famous by Barbara Streisand. And I love the fact that the truth is there is one God. And we are all a part of that God. Millions of stars placed in the sky by one God. Millions of us, we lift up our eyes to one God. So many children calling out loud by many a different name. One Spirit, loving each the same. Many the ways that all of us pray to one God. Many the paths winding their way to one God. Brothers and sisters, there were no strangers after God's work was done. For your God and my God are one. Millions of stars, they were placed in the sky by one God. Millions of us, we lift up our eyes to one God. So many children calling out loud by many a different name. One Spirit, loving each the same. Many the ways all of us pray to one God. Many the paths winding the way to one God. Brothers and sisters, there were no strangers after God's work was done. For your God, yes, my God, yes, our God, are one.
after that, we need to say amen. Thank you, Christina Brewer. When she's not singing, Christina is teaching preschool, and she's the mother to that vibrant 6-year-old and a vibrant 2-year-old. They are so full of zeal and imagination. And you can hear some of Christina's recordings if you look her up on YouTube. Welcome to the light and love that is Unity of South Sound. My name is Anita Landry, and it's my joy to welcome you here this morning. If you have any questions, concerns, or joys to share, please contact our office during business hours at 253-301-0385 or email us at office@unityofsouthsound.org. And now we invite you to relax, reconnect, and center in the truth of who we are. Will you please join me in our opening affirmation? Together, there is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe, God the good, omnipotence. Our mission statement, inspired by the divine, as an inclusive spiritual community, we explore and express our highest potential. Our vision statement, present and centered in divine love, we co-create a peaceful and awakened world. And our core values, we are love, joy, abundance, spirit-guided. And now I invite Reverend James Tierney to light the Unity candle and lead us in an opening prayer.
So let's allow ourselves to take a deep inhalation and exhale audibly. Sweet Spirit, we are so grateful to be here in this beautiful place with these beautiful people, with our friends and our community. And we affirm today a service that enriches everyone, that enriches us and brings us joy, insight, and brings out the beauty that is within all of us. And all this we affirm in the name and through the power of the Spirit of living truth. It is so. Amen.
Now I invite you to stand if you're able and join with our song leader, Joey Sandal Hill, in singing our congregational song.
We're part of one family, the family of God, breathing one spirit, living one life. We're in this together, finding our way. Let love be our guiding light, and on course we'll stay. We're part of one family, family of God, breathing one spirit, living one life. We're in this together, finding our way. Let love be our guiding light, and on course we'll stay. We're part of one family, family of God, breathing one spirit, living one life. We're in this together, together, finding our way. Let love be our guiding light, and on course we'll stay.
Now is the time in our service when we get to greet that one family with a namaste greeting. If you're comfortable with those with whom you live, you can give them a hug, and otherwise, please put your hands together and say, Namaste. I behold the divinity you are. Namaste. Let's extend the Namaste blessing to our Northwest region. Namaste, Northwest region. Let's extend the Namaste greeting to our nation. Namaste, United States of America. Finally, let's extend the Namaste blessing to our entire planet. Namaste, planet Earth.
One life living as you and me, one light shining as you and me, one love loving as you and me, 'cause God is all there is. One life living as you and me, one love loving as you and me, one love loving as you and me, 'cause God is all there is. I'm shining from the inside out. I'm so happy. I just wanna one life living as you and me, one light shining as you and me, one love loving as you and me, 'cause God is all there is. One life living as you and me, one love loving as you and me, one love loving as you and me, 'cause God is all there is.
Our inspirational reading this morning is from the Daily Word. The word for today is grace. Grace is my constant blessing. I discover grace all around me when I open my eyes, my mind and my heart to its presence. Grace reminds me that God's love is active everywhere at every moment. Grace can be as quiet as a whisper. It's in the love I hear, in the voice of someone dear, and in the warm and tenderness of a comforting touch. Grace is in the heartfelt welcome I receive when invited to a friend's home. It's the bliss I feel when I know I truly belong. God is the heart of all grace, as goodness and kindness in action. Always mine to receive and give in kind. My growing awareness inspires me to share this activity of God graciously, generously, by calling it into expression. And now I commend you to God and to all the message of His grace, a message that is able to build you up and to give you the inheritance among all who are sanctified. Acts 20:32.
Come with me, and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Take a look, and you'll see into your imagination. To begin, take a spin, traveling in the world of my creation. What you'll see will defy explanation. If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything I want to do it. Want to change the world. There's nothing to it. There is no life I know that compares with pure imagination. Living there, you'll be free if you truly wish to be. Close your eyes, you will see one. Want to be a dreamer, be one. Anytime you please, and please save me one. Come with me, and you'll be in a world of your imagination. Take a look and you'll see into your imagination. There is no place to go to compare with your imagination. So go there to be free if you truly wish to be.
Hello? Can you hear me? Okay, I'll take this off. Good morning, Unity. Oh my gosh, Christina, thank you for that. I just pictured myself floating on the clouds and drifting up into the cosmos, and that voice is so beautiful. That's my friend. I love her. Oh my gosh, like, I don't want to admit how. It's been a long, long, long time, yes. But I didn't want to say that because, you know, you never ask a lady her age, right? So I just wanted to, I get the, oh, and Cerny, oh my gosh, you know, just listening to you play. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing your gift. It's so beautiful. Well, that's it. We're all in the cosmos. So it is my privilege and honor to welcome our speaker today, Reverend James Tierney. James is a fresh graduate of Unity Seminary. After bringing up 3 kids and after completing an engineering career at Microsoft, James gets to engage in his passion for capital T truth, archetypal stories, and bringing the power of spirit to the people. James is delighted to be here with us in this wonderful building with all of us today. Reverend James, welcome to the love and the light that is Unity of South Sound.
I appreciate what a wonderful introduction, and the song, I mean, you sang it so beautifully, and it's appropriate. The imagination is what stories are about. Stories launch us into imagination. Stories come from our imagination. I'm going to talk about a time long ago when the world was transformed by the transfiguration of stories. And I want to start off by saying, when we're talking about things that happened in 950 CE, no, BCE, 3,000 years ago. And so we don't know everything. A lot of things we have to impute. But the theory I'm going to describe is one advanced by Professor Harold Bloom of Yale, and it has a lot of adherents. And I like it because he used literary analysis to explain. And what this is the origin of the earliest parts of the Bible. And by looking at literary analysis and comparing it with history and archaeology, we find that there probably is one person who was the author of the earliest part of the Bible. And this was Bathsheba. And Bathsheba, if you look at her name, Bath is daughter, and Sheba means 7. But in ancient Hebrew, numbers all had meanings, and 7 is a number of completion. It's a number of an oath. It's a very powerful number of like, 7, we're done here. And so Bathsheba was the daughter of like, make sure it happens. It's going to happen with Bathsheba. She grew up as a Moabite in Israel. So she grew up in the country, but she wasn't really one of the inside people. She wasn't part of the ruling class. She was like not a despised minority, but a sort of off-to-the-side minority in Israel. But she caught the attention of the king, of King David, who was a rock star of kings. I mean, this guy, he was only the second king they'd ever had. But the first one was sort of so-so at fighting off their enemies. And David, I mean, he launched himself onto the scene by killing the most powerful Philistine with a rock, and hence a rock star. But he was famous for singing and dancing. He loved music as praise. So he would he would appreciate Cerny and Christina and Joey and all the music we have here. He's very charismatic. Bathsheba was his 8th wife. So she wasn't Even when she was living in the royal palace, she wasn't number one. But she knew who she was. She knew she was the woman who was there. Things happened when she was around. And she had a son, Solomon, and she made sure that he got the best education that he could get. And she was very involved in his education. Hence, when David's older sons got involved in feuds and a bunch of them killed each other or died in civil wars that they started, she had her Solomon, who was staying safe in the palace, learning the true meaning of these stories. So I want to start out with the story of the ark. And back in the day, so all these stories she got, it wasn't like she made them all up. They were around in oral tradition, but they didn't mean the same thing. There are several stories of arks, but the most famous one outside of our Noah one was in the story of Gilgamesh. And Gilgamesh met Utnapishtim, who was their Noah. And he was, well, let's start at the beginning. Enlil was the chief god. And Enlil got tired of the earth and tired of people and said, that's it, I'm getting rid of it. This is too stupid. I've got better things to do. Let's wash it away with a big flood. And Ea, who was the goddess of wisdom and water, was like, oh, but Utnapishtim, he's my favorite guy. I don't want him getting washed away. But she wasn't supposed to tell anybody, but she snuck down and she told Utnapishtim, hey, Enlil's mad and he's going to flood the whole place. Why don't you build a big ark and put animals and food in it, and then you'll survive, and your family, of course. So Utnapishtim did that. And then when the floods came, they were safe inside the boat. As the waters began to recede, he sent out birds, as in our Noah's Ark. And then eventually the floodwaters receded, the ark was on the ground, and Utnapishtim opened the doors, let the animals out, and created a sacrifice. He cooked up an offering for the gods because he was grateful to have survived. And then the gods came. And these gods were so miserable. They were waterlogged. They were skinny. They were covered in mud. They're like, oh my God, we're so hungry. Do you have anything to spare? And he said, yes, everything is mine for the gods. And they're like, oh, we love you so much, Utnapishtim. Who thought of saving you? And then Enlil showed up. And Enlil was like, I told you everyone was supposed to be dead. But he smelled the barbecue, and they're like, please, please, he's feeding us. Don't you want the praise? He's like, well, okay, this tastes good. I will save you, Utnapishtim. And not only that, I'll make you immortal. And so he's immortal. Gilgamesh meets him because Gilgamesh also wanted to be immortal. Gilgamesh's best friend had just died, and he thought, this is a bad deal. I don't want to die. Let's become immortal. And Utnapishtim said, are you sure you want to become immortal? Because really, it's sort of fun for a few centuries, but all your friends die and it gets boring, and there's no end to it. And he's like, I really, really want it, but no, Gilgamesh didn't become immortal. But I think Bathsheba did by creating the story of Noah. So when we have the story of Utnapishtim, it is in essence the bare bones, the skeleton of the story of Noah. But the gods are fickle. Humans have no purpose except maybe as cooks for the gods. We're mere minions to be disposed of at their whim. When Bathsheba wrote Noah, it's a God that cares for us and a God that wants the best for us. And he sends the cleansing water, the cleansing rain, to clear out the earth of people who are not good for it, of people who'd gone astray and who he didn't know how to bring back into the fold. He instructed the only good person, Noah and his family, to get into the ark with the animals so that they could survive. And so this wasn't against the main God. It wasn't an act of defiance. It was an act of preservation. It was an act of making the world safe for us all. And Noah's inside the ark. And I like to think with Noah inside the ark that this might be a little like Bathsheba and Solomon. In the harem, in the palace, when the older sons are killing each other, there's bloodshed going on. As the eighth wife and someone who wasn't even, really an Israeli, she was one of those, other people. She was an outsider, and so she stuck close to Solomon. And this was Noah also in the story. Part of the reason he had space to build the ark was because they didn't like him in town. He was too much of a goody-good, and they were greedy and selfish, in the story. They really sort of gave in to all their shadow desires, and they weren't trying to elevate themselves. And whereas Noah, he knew that Spirit was leading him. And then when the water receded, Noah similarly sent out birds. And when the ark was on the ground, he let the animals go and created an offering to God. And this time, there wasn't a little fight over, we wanted you to kill him too. Instead, God was happy to get, to get the gratitude. So what Bathsheba did here was she took the story and she made it a meaningful story that would guide people's lives. Instead of, life stinks and then you die, it was, be good, be compassionate, follow Spirit, look at your inner guidance, and know, what's good for your community can be good for you. Oh, and the last thing, so Jehovah God gave, at the end of it, Noah said, I can't have you flooding the world every time people get bad. We got to come up with a less permanent solution to this. And he negotiated with God and came up with a covenant, and the rainbow was the sign of the covenant. Well, covenants were the latest technology 3,000 years ago. They just come up with them. It was the coolest thing. They were just having, they had a few city-states before that, and city-states were like growing to be nation-states, and those nation-states were bumping up against each other. And instead of fighting, they could have a covenant. And they would write, and the way covenants had three parts. So they weren't written between equals. A covenant was written between a lord and a vassal. But this is important when you have a big kingdom. And the first part of the covenant says, the Lord is cool, and I'm really happy to live in the Lord's kingdom. It's a good thing. The second part says, I'm going to be loyal to my Lord because he does all kinds of good things for me. And, these are the things I'll do. And then the third part says, and if I don't, I'm in big trouble. But this was sort of the TikTok of, 2950 BCE or 950 BCE. They have a lot of covenants in the Bible. So there's a covenant between Noah and God where God says, I won't flood the world again because you guys are going to be loyal to me. And but there's a covenant. Abraham has a covenant, and Moses has a covenant. All these covenants make this sort of high tech. The other story she put in, so King David, when you're the eighth wife, and he keeps on having more wives after you, you don't necessarily get a lot of face time with him. But she knew King David very well. And so I think she put in the book of Job, Job is a good man who does everything good, but bad things happen to him. And back in the day, people used to think that if bad things are happening to you, it must be because you're a bad person. Bad things happen to bad people. They don't happen to good people. So she writes this whole story about how, in fact, people may think that, but sometimes bad things happen to good people, and what you need to do, if you're one of those good people, is keep the faith. If you can keep the faith, then things will turn around at some point. In fact, what we learn in doing shadow work is sometimes those bad things help us do better. That you know, if life is too good, if life is going easily all the time, then sometimes we can get lazy, we can stop appreciating it. There's growth to be found in uncovering, in seeing, in revealing and uncovering the bad things in life. So she was telling David, don't quit before the miracle. Keep on going. David lost 3 sons, Amnon, Absalom, and Adonijah. And she was like, David, I swear, keep the faith, it'll get better. And look at Solomon, wouldn't he make a good king? So just in this moment, let's just close our eyes for a minute and picture ourselves 3,000 years ago. We're in a palace, we have our loving son with us, but we aren't necessarily beloved. We sort of get a little bit of a cold shoulder from a lot of the other more senior wives, and maybe even the more junior wives. But we've got these stories, and we're seeing the power of these stories. And we can see all the children, all the royal princes, the young royal princes, Solomon and the ones younger than he are getting the new stories, are learning that we are part of a community, that compassion is a valuable tool, and that God is real in our lives, that we can feel the presence here and now. Another story I think she told, she's a Moabite. And the Moabites, if you look at the patriarchs, Moab was the son of Lot, and Lot was Abraham's nephew. And Lot had the bad luck to live in Sodom, where all the people were bad, and God decided to destroy Sodom, not with a flood, but with flaming, I think it was a meteor strike, is what archaeologists think these days. Could have been a volcano. But he was warned, presumably in a dream, he was warned by the angels to flee the town, but he was not to look behind. And his wife famously looked behind and turned into a pillar of salt. And this was a warning, I think, for both Bathsheba and for David. Don't look back. Don't think about your old life. Don't think about, things you could have done better. David spent a lot of time moping over Absalom, who was the apple of his eye and deep in his heart. But Absalom did not like Dad back. Absalom started a civil war, a coup to overthrow his dad, and ended up getting killed in that coup. So don't look back, David. We're moving forward. I think for us, we can look back but not get stuck in the past. Embracing the past and being able to move it forward is what Bathsheba would want for us. So I want to introduce the afternoon workshop. I'm going to talk about more stories and how to do what Bathsheba did. Take those stories and find the meaning in them for us. It's got a little I'll teach you a little bit of a dream interpretation technique, because dreams are stories our subconscious is giving us, or superconscious, but dreams are messages for us. I'll tell you, I had a dream recently it was the same dream 3 nights in a row. But Charles Fillmore, Unity's co-founder, when Myrtle Fillmore was praying for healing from tuberculosis, Charles Fillmore was praying, and he noticed that God was not talking back to him. And he was like, why isn't this happening? But he was determined. He was prayed for hours every night for 2 years. And then he noticed that the messages from God came to him in his dreams. So looking at your dreams and being able to find value from them is something I advise, and we'll talk a little bit about that. We also have stories about Tibet, more Bible stories, the Bhagavad Gita, which is one of my favorite Hindu stories. So we've all kinds of stories, and we can look at their meaning to us, and we can find meaning within these stories and have tools to find meanings in all kinds of stories. So I invite you to stay if you can. Otherwise, I think we're on Zoom, so we can do it from anywhere. So with that, I invite you, whatever story you're telling yourself, make it a powerful one, make it a positive one, make it a true one. One of the things, I noticed, you manifested this beautiful church, many years ago. And this is, somebody built it, and it seems like the right and perfect place for all of us. So I'll probably see you after the service, but this is the message. Find a story that's true for you, that's meaningful for you, take it and make it yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend James Tierney. We want to thank all of you who might be here for the first time. If this is your first time here or online, thank you for sharing your consciousness and your love with us. If it's your second time with us, welcome back. And if you've been with us for a long time, welcome home. So to all our friends, we share our unity blessing. Together, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the divinity you are. At this time, we would like to prepare for the love offering, and I invite Christina to prepare for your next song. This is the time in our service when we have the chance to share of our financial blessings with this community. There are 3 easy ways to do so. You can visit our website at unityofsouthsound.org and click on the orange donate button in the upper right-hand corner of the homepage. You can make an ongoing or one-time donation there. It's simple and secure to do. You can also call our office at 253-301-0385 or mail it to us at Unity of South Sound, 710 South Anderson Street, Tacoma, Washington, 98405. Whether you make your tithes in any form, we hold these love offerings in this moment in our hands and hearts and affirm this together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am in perfect balance and flow with the universal tides of giving and receiving. Thank you, God.
Always knew what I wanted to be,
and I wondered if they'd see what I dreamed. I dreamed. So I put my heart on the line, and I prayed just one more time that I'd shine. I'd shine. But sometimes life can kick you down, and if you fall and hit the ground, dry your eyes, you will rise. Reach for the stars. Chase the fire in your heart. Reach for the stars. Hold on tight to who you are. Reach for the stars. Don't look back, you've come so far. Reach for the stars. Don't forget it's who you are. Reach for the stars. Never stop, it's who you are.
I have a few announcements to share with you this morning, and we'd like you to know that you can always keep up to date on our Sunday services and events by subscribing to our weekly newsletter, the E-Blast. Go to our homepage and click on Newsletter Sign Up button at the top. Then fill out your contact info and submit. Your info will be safe and secure on our site and will never be shared. You can also sign up for the E-Blast here in the sanctuary. Join us on Zoom on Wednesdays at 11 a.m. for a time of connection and sharing of what is on your heart and mind. Check the E-Blast and the website for the meeting code for Coffee with Unity. We invite you to join us for a workshop with Reverend James Tierney today after the service from 12 to 2 p.m. Here's his description of the workshop. In the afternoon workshop, we will learn tools of meaning so we can see the levels of meaning in a story, and we can learn to craft our own stories so they deepen and enrich us and our community. The truth of who we are is wordless, but stories bring richness, direction, passion into our lives, bringing that truth to light. Come for an afternoon of insight and connection. We'd love to see you all there. The workshop will be held here in the sanctuary. Also, please leave your completed evaluation forms in the basket by the sanctuary doors. Or you can fill out the online form. The link is in the E-Blast. Call to Action 2021. Each year at this time, Unity of South Sound conducts a special event to help provide financial resources that we need to do the spiritual work that is ours to do. This year, in lieu of a special event, the board has made the decision to forego this year's event and invites you to consider a one-time gift. This gift would be over and above your usual tithes, intentional giving, or love offerings. This will relieve stress on the part of our committed volunteers and donors who are unable to plan and attend an in-person event. Our goal this year is $35,000, an amount that approximates the revenue usually generated by our annual event. This specific call to action is from November 7th through November 30th, 2021. And so, with excitement, we invite you to participate in this call to action during what is our 49th anniversary year. For those who usually attend this annual special event, consider what you may have given before as a baseline. For those of you new to our community who have never attended this event in the past, please consider joining this critical juncture in our evolution with a gift commensurate with your ability. There are so many ways to give. You can mail your donation, you can contact our office during business hours to make a donation by phone, or click on that donate button on our website, unityofsouthsound.org. The next community gathering will be on next Sunday, November 28th, after the service. This will be a time of requesting and receiving information about our minister search and other church updates. These events will be held in person, live streamed over Facebook, and uploaded to YouTube later in the day. So please plan to join us however works for you. And we have a prayer box by our main doors. If you have a prayer on your heart, please feel free to write it on a prayer form and drop it in the box. Prayers are sent to our prayer chaplains to pray over them and forwarded to Silent Unity to be prayed over for 30 days. Now, though some of our youth are not physically here in the spire, we have our teens here with us, and we'd like you to know that all of our children are here in spirit. So to our youth, our teachers, and our youth director, Jennifer Richardson, we send our unity blessings. Together, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the divinity you are. Now I invite you to stand if you're able, wherever you are. Hold your hands high as we sing the peace song, sending peace to the entire world.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every breath I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace and harmony. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week, same time, same place. God bless you all.
make sure these evaluation forms, we need them back by Monday, tomorrow afternoon. You can get them to the office or use the QR code. You can scan it with your telephone. It'll go to a web address. Click on the web address and you can fill out the form. But we need these back by Monday so the board can go over them on Tuesday. But it's really important. We really, really want your feedback. There's one for today's Sunday service. There's one for today's workshop. And then we have a final candidate input sheet. It's on the back. We should have color-coded these. We really want your feedback, which candidate you liked, what you liked about the candidates that we've seen so far, and what you liked about their workshops. It gives us the feedback we need to help make a better decision about what everybody in the community wants. So please get these back to us no later than Monday. There's a basket in the back that you can drop them off in. If you get a chance today, that would be wonderful. So thank you, and have a wonderful week. We hope you can stay around for the workshop. Thank you, everybody.